Morning peeps, good morning everyone, how's everyone doing? Hopefully you guys are all doing well. Don't forget, hit that subscribe button. If you guys are new to the channel, don't forget as well to like and share the vids. All right, let's do this. I've literally just got back, just got through the front door, but there's quite a lot to talk about. I haven't watched the Boatsi fight yet. I'll give my own verdict on it when I watch it. I have seen the response to it, but again, because I've not watched it, it'll be silly of me to jump on the bandwagon and talk about that performance. What we will talk about, though, obviously in a lot of detail, is what we saw in Mexico. Not just the main event. I thought the undercard had some good performances, good fights as well. I thought it was actually a very good main card. I liked it from top to bottom. I mean, when a fight card opens with Gvozdyk Bolotniks, you know it's going to be a decent night of boxing, and I think it was. The one thing that I keep going back to in my head is the size of that ring. I mean, when someone says 18 foot by 18 foot, you know it's small, but it's difficult to visualize it. When you see Gvozdyk and Bolotniks in it, what's Gvozdyk? 6'3", Bolotniks 6'2", 6'1". That's when you realize how small a ring that was. That was embarrassing. I don't quite understand why Canelo insisted on having a ring that small. Like, John Ryder is not a mover. Like, if he was fighting Billy Joe Saunders, I get it, right? You're fighting Billy Joe, fights on the back foot, moves a bit. But John Ryder's not that. So why you insisted on having a ring that small, I don't understand. And look, Tony Sims and John Ryder must have been like, nope, ain't happening. So I'm guessing they got compensated for it. But look, I like the card. Again, I thought it was a really, really good fight card. I thought Canelo's entrance was insane. Probably one of the best entrances I've ever seen. Like, you can have two extremes. Like, I'm the biggest fan of Mike Tyson entrances. Like, just no nonsense, get to the ring. But if you're going to go big, go big. And Canelo went big. And that's of the go big entrances, that's the best go big entrance I've ever seen. It was insane. It was like 10 minutes. It was like 2 packages, then him doing the ring walk. It was a really long entrance, but it got the crowd going. And the crowd, I mean, I think it was around 50,000 in there, which again, just goes to show the power of Canelo. Look, we're going to talk about whether Canelo is still the king. And I don't just mean the king in terms of pay-per-view and just being the biggest star in boxing. I mean the king of, I guess, the pound for pound king, right? There's still a discussion about where he is in the pound for pound. Is he still the best 168 pounder? I know he's got all the belts, so you could say by default he is. But again, I think those are things that we need to discuss. Let's start, if we can, backwards. And what I mean by that is I do want to talk about Gvozdyk Bolotniks. I mean, Gvozdyk still got it. Ricard Bolotniks, very much the gatekeeper of the light heavyweight division. Look, he was going to fight Craig Richards. I did a fight of his in Spain where he got the win against, I think the guy's called Sepp, an unbeaten fighter. We saw that he gave Boatsi some problems for a few rounds as well, and Boatsi then had to kind of go through the gears and get rid of him. But he's a very, very good fighter, and with Gvozdyk, we're not quite sure. Again, he fought Beterbiev. Remember, he was WBC light heavyweight champion, fought Beterbiev, retired after that fight, came back, had a 6-rounder, and literally has said, okay, I need to know where I am. Give me someone very good. Bolotniks is that. And it was actually a very competitive fight, but then Gvozdyk just showed the levels, and I was so surprised by that stoppage. Like, Bolotniks clearly was struggling, threw out his gum shield, thinking the ref was going to say, okay, stop. The referee didn't, and then he just got bashed up. He's now a very interesting addition. I'm going to say addition because, again, he's been retired pretty much 3 years. A very interesting division to the light heavyweight scene. Like, they're obviously struggling to get a fight for Bivol. That's clear, because Bivol would have had a fight by now. And it looks like now Bivol's going to sit it out. If Bivol doesn't sit it out and they can't come to an agreement with Canelo, which I think they will, but if they can't, then Bivol Gvozdyk's a great fight. If I'm Craig Richards, Darren Barker was saying, should Craig have that fight? Not sure, man. It's a tough fight. Boatsi? I mean, look, he's right there. Yard, he's right there. And I think he's going to want a world title crack or fight one of the top dogs, Gvozdyk. So look, very, very good fighter. Stevie Spark beat Valenzuela. He did. Look, I know he got knocked down, but he won the majority of the rounds for me. Good rounds, good fights, but every time he put the pressure on, Valenzuela didn't like it. So I thought he won that by 2 or 3 rounds. So upset for him, but I don't think it derails him. Look, Stevie Sparks, for me, never going to be a world champion. Some people might say he could be. I don't think he's that level, but it always being good, exciting fights. So I don't think it derails his progress. I still think he'll get the fights. Eddie likes him. I was watching it thinking, he reminds me so much of Michael Katsidis. I don't know if you guys remember him. Australian, who fought, pretty much everyone fought Juan Manuel Marquez, fought loads of guys. Katsidis fought, who did he fight over? I think he fought Kevin Mitchell over here, fought loads of guys over here as well. Reminds me of him. And then I found out after that, that's his hero. Yeah, so it reminded me of him. Nathaniel Rodriguez looked good, 18-year-old prospect, featherweight. We'll skip over him quickly. Julio Cesar Martinez. If I'm Sonny Edwards watching that fight, he's there for the taking. He's there. I mean, look, he's tough. He's gritty. In the end, he got the stoppage. So he got the knockout, which is always going to be a good thing. He's a switch hitter as well. This guy literally, technique-wise, he's all over the place. But that actually makes him quite difficult to read because you don't know what he's going to do. But if I'm Sonny, I'm looking at thinking, I can get him. So hopefully, obviously, Sonny's got a fight coming up next month. Hopefully if Sonny comes through that's the unification you make whilst they wait to see what happens with Bam Rodriguez and the broken jaw. And there is a Ukrainian who's got the other belt. His name skips me, sorry. So look, Sonny Edwards will look and think there's so many big fights out there for him in this flyweight division, so hopefully he can get them. All right, let's talk about the main man, Canelo and John Ryder. Firstly, look, let's give John Ryder all the plaudits. I was trying my hardest to defend the matchup because Ak and Barak were kind of shooting it down a little bit. Not shooting down John Ryder's chances. I always said Canelo was going to win, but I said that John Ryder will cause him some problems just because we over here know how tough John Ryder is. Yes, we understand his limitations, but in terms of toughness, the man's tough. He's very, very tough. But I have to admit, when he got put down in the fourth or fifth round, I was like, okay, that's it then. Got put down, his nose was broken. He said after as well that the blood was trickling down his throat, couldn't breathe. Jesus. Remember, you're 5,000 feet above sea level as well. The ring's tiny. Think of, that's a fucking nightmare. The ring's like a kiddie's ring. You're 5,000 foot above sea level, so your breathing's limited anyway. Your nose is broken. Blood is pouring through your throat, and in front of you is a killer that wants to take your head off. And he still survived. I'm sorry. He deserves his fucking plaudits. So well done to John Ryder. I think he looked good. He caught Canelo with a few uppercuts, some body shots. And I think he just surprised Canelo a little bit. I think he surprised a lot of people. He surprised me that he went the distance. But look, well done to him. His stock has risen in a defeat. That defeat, and I think I'll put this on my Instagram, but that defeat is bigger than any of his wins. I think so. I mean, what's his biggest win? Danny Jacobs? And that was a split decision, quite controversial. That defeat's bigger than that win. Zach Parker, that defeat's bigger than that win. It is, it really is. So well done to him. Hopefully he goes home with, I don't know, 3-4 million maybe. And then, what is he, 34 now? So maybe a few more, 5 more, 6 more fights just to fill that pension. And good luck. Nothing but good things to say about John Ryder. Canelo, I feel like we need to start asking some questions. And I hate doing this. When someone wins, it's quite, I feel it's a bit cheeky, like almost, I think people did this with Beterbiev. When Beterbiev beat Yard, it was almost a case of, you start thinking, 1 second, I see a bit of slippage there. Can Callum Smith beat him? And I did that with Canelo. I was like, okay, there's slippage. There's clearly slippage. And if you don't think there's slippage, then you're too much of a Canelo fanboy to remove your love for him. And I'm the same with AJ sometimes, but sometimes you've got to be honest and say what you see. I'm judging Canelo from what's the best Canelo I've seen? And there's been some good Canelos. Golovkin to Danny Jacobs. Either one of those. That Canelo that I saw on Saturday isn't that. He isn't that. Canelo against Danny Jacobs, you couldn't hit him. I mean, you remember there's the famous memes of Danny Jacobs and Canelo avoiding it like it's the Matrix. You couldn't hit him. Gas Tank looked really good as well. this Canelo, and maybe because that Canelo was at 160, a bit lighter, this Canelo at 168, and a guy that's obviously gone up to 175 and come down, maybe it's a bit too heavy on his feet. Or maybe it's just a case of, look, it's been an 18-year career. I'm starting to slow down a bit. I don't know, but defensively, and look, John Ryder's not the fastest. He's not in there against a speed merchant. And John Ryder was able to catch him too many times. And I was like, what's going on? And honestly, I was a bit surprised by the performance. I actually didn't think the smaller ring helped him either. I think that kind of backfired. But yes, if we're judging it on that Canelo that fought Golovkin the second time, even the Canelo that fought Golovkin the first time, and Danny Jacobs, that little run, he's fallen off from that. And by the way, when I say fallen off, I'm not talking like that was 100 and he's now at a 60. I'm saying he's 100 and he's now at an 85 maybe. But when you're that high up and you drop off, you can see it. And I'm watching him, and look, everything is still good, but everything that was a 9 or a 10 is now an 8 or a 7. So he's still an absolutely phenomenal fighter, but there's no way you're not telling me that there isn't slippage there. And it happens. It happens to all the greatest fighters on the planet. It happens to all of them, where it just starts to catch up with you. The sparring catches up with you. You depleting your body to get down to a weight catches up with you. Longevity catches up with you. Injuries catches up with you. And I think it's just starting to catch up with him. It is. And all this talk about, I want to fight Bivol, I want to go up to 175. I mean, I get it. Your ego. I understand. You want to exact revenge on the guy that beat you, but it ain't happening. That version of Canelo, unless the ring is 16 by 16, even then, that version of Canelo is not beating Dimitri Bivol. No, at 175, no sorry. It ain't happening. And this is not me sort of just jumping to conclusions. Bivol might be the best mover in the sport. He can hit. Confidence is through the roof right now. And where we say there's now clear slippage with Canelo, I haven't seen that with Bivol. In fact, Bivol's getting better. Like, this version of Bivol is way better than the version that fought Craig Richards and Joe Smith. This version is fucking right here. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. I was actually, me and Darren were talking about this, and I was like, man, I wouldn't be shocked if Canelo just says, in maybe 2 or 3 fights. Like, I wouldn't be shocked, because there are young killers coming for him, big, strong guys. David Morrell, who looked very good on the undercard of Ryan Garcia Tank. Obviously, David Benavidez. You know, these are tough fights out there, for really, really tough fights. And I'd hate to see someone really put a beating on Canelo that couldn't have laced his boots a couple of years ago, couldn't have caused him any problems. I'm not trying to say they'll beat him, but I wouldn't be as confident of Canelo beating them as I once was, you know? Yeah, wouldn't be. You know what's very interesting with Canelo? And look, I only see very small bits of sort of what he does in training, and who the fuck am I to tell Canelo what to do? But you know, when you're watching Canelo, everything seems to be like power, doesn't it? Bang, bang. When he's hitting, what's that thing called? I can't remember. I don't know what it's called. That Eddie Reynoso always helps. It's always like power shots, almost like he's a heavyweight, like those big one bang, bang, as opposed to your combination shooting. Yeah, I don't know. I wonder if he's dined out on that power just a little bit. But look, I feel bad even critiquing the man. He's still pound for pound top 5 for me. He's still, as it stands right now today, the best 168 pounder on the planet. But there is slippage. Understand, people, as much as we love, and I do anyway, as much as I love John Ryder was sent over to Mexico to get assassinated in an 18-foot ring. He was. And he survived. That should send some alarm bells ringing to the Canelo fans. It should. But look, we'll see what happens. He wants Dimitri Bivol. Dimitri Bivol wants to fight at 168. So basically the problem we have right now is Canelo wants to fight Dimitri Bivol at 175. Dimitri Bivol's like, I've already beaten you at 175. So unless it's a 50-50 split, which will be interesting to see if Canelo will ever do that, Dimitri Bivol was like, I'd rather fight you at 168 because Dimitri Bivol wants to become undisputed at 168 and then he wants to jump back up to 175 and become undisputed at that after fighting Beterbiev. That's what he wants to do. That's what he wants in his next 2 or 3 fights. Him fighting Canelo at 175 doesn't serve that purpose. But money talks, bullshit walks, and who knows. All right, let's move on. Ben Shalom. Ben Whittaker is the full package. He'll be headlining arenas. Full package. Let's see if he can put bums on seats. There's a big difference. Whether or not the crowd get behind you and you can start selling some tickets, that's when we'll know. Eddie Hearn says big fight to weight Ryder after defeat to Canelo, mentions Golovkin as a possibility. I have no idea what Golovkin's doing. No idea. I wouldn't mind seeing it, but if you can, unless they offer Golovkin a lot of money, why is Golovkin going to be fighting John Ryder? Answers on a postcard, please. Oh, look at this. Ryder. First time, I said this, didn't I? First time I broke my nose. I couldn't breathe. Blood was going down my throat. Fuck. Mate, can't even imagine what that feels like. Can't even imagine. And people say it's not the toughest sport in the world. Shut up. Frank Sanchez says Chris Arreola is next. Hope win leads to a big fight. Is he just the most avoided heavyweight or something? How is Frank Sanchez fighting Chris Arreola? Chris Arreola. I thought Chris Arreola was... Don't wrong, look, Chris Arreola put up a good performance against Andy Ruiz. But I thought Chris Arreola was done when he fought... Did Chris Arreola fight Wilder? Or did he fight Bermain? Anyway, back then I thought he was like kind of done. And here we are now. Frank Sanchez thinks a win against Arreola. He thinks a win against Arreola is going to get him a big fight. Like, okay. Joshua Boazzi, I'm disappointed I didn't get the KO, but I needed the rounds. Again, haven't seen the fight. We'll probably talk about it midweek sometime. Obviously, look, fighters always say that, don't they? Once they don't get the knockout, then I guess the next best thing is, okay, we got some rounds. It was his first fight for a year. Remember, he's not fought since the Craig Richards win. Was there a big crowd there? Honestly, I don't know anything about this, but I know people are upset with his performance. But look, I'll watch it and again judge for it. This was interesting. So obviously, look, you guys know that I was doing the broadcast from a studio which had its own issues, man. That shit ain't easy, you know. That shit ain't easy. But look, we got it done. And I remember hearing, because you wear an earpiece. I'm trying to see if I've got my earpiece with me. No, but you're wearing an earpiece, so they're talking to you in that area, and you're talking to the guest. So you can see what's going on behind the scenes. You can hear everything, what's going on from your director, your producer, and then you're trying to have a conversation with the guest, but you're also hearing, as I'm doing this, I'm hearing that, all right, Matchroom have signed Regis Prograis, Eddie Hearn's ringside. I'm like, whoa, okay, that's a good one. And then I'm hearing like, okay, Matchroom have signed Andy Cruz. I'm like, Jesus Christ, man, this is good. This is really, really good. It's a shame that we didn't get to hear from Andy Cruz. Obviously, we saw and heard from Regis Prograis, but two fantastic signings they are. And obviously, Matchroom have announced this new 3-year deal or extension to the deal with DAZN to broadcast in America. And you need some stars. You need some stars. Now, I don't know if Regis Prograis and Andy Cruz are those, but they have the potential to be stars. Again, Edgar Berlanga, Clarissa Shields is fighting on DAZN. In July, I believe it is, or was it June? So yeah, let's see what they can do. Let's see. Conor Benn regrets initial reaction, says he takes back vow to never fight in England. This still needs to be cleared up. There's a lot I think that needs to be done, said, and hopefully now that everyone, and I say everyone, now that Conor Benn has calmed down a little bit, hopefully we can start to clear all this shit up. Yeah, hopefully we can clear it up. I did see a picture of him with Eddie and Manny Pacquiao's manager. I still don't get the fights, by the way. I know I get a lot of stick for saying that from some. Like, I still don't get the want for Conor Benn to fight Manny. Well, I do actually. It's money, isn't it? You're going to make more money fighting Manny Pacquiao than you're going to make fighting Echo Usman or Michael Mickinson. Yeah. Canelo stands firm on Bivol at 175. Same rules, same terms, same everything. You got to respect it. You've got to respect it. As much as I think it's the wrong thing to do, you've got to respect it that he's saying, fuck it, let's roll, let's do it again. Very reminiscent Conor McGregor. When Conor McGregor fought Nate Diaz at 170, when he really should have got him down to 155 and lost. The rematch, look, Conor's the A side. Conor could have said, you know what, fuck it, get back to my natural weight of 155. Conor was like, no, roll it back, run it back, 170 again. Let's do it. And Conor won. Conor won, and it was the fight that, it was the win, I think, that took him room, because Nate's his kryptonite. So Canelo's obviously got a bit of that in him, like, you know, fuck it, let's go. Zhilei Zhang emerges as front runner to fight Tyson Fury in July. Next. Anything else? Not really. Miami was amazing, by the way. That's where we were. I think you guys know that. Do you know that? Hopefully you do. Hopefully I'm not just kind of put my foot in it, but I'm sure you do. But yeah, it was very interesting to do a studio broadcast. I've never done one before, and normally I've seen a few, like, and I've not been fans of them. I'm like, yeah, it's not working. But I've watched a bit of the show back, and I think it did work. I thought Darren Barker was fantastic. Jessica McCaskill, very good. And I thought it kind of worked with the screen behind us and us throwing to them. So hopefully we can do some more of those if we can't get to the venue. But yeah, we'll do some more videos throughout the week, as we always do. Peace and love.